Ulaya wengi namba wamebadilisha, swala humu batio sawa, ila ndiyo hali ya maisha. Nakusisana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sitachoka bado nakazana. Nami nakusisana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sitachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Ayaya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama. Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Unalotoka uko Afrika na ndoto za ajabu ajabu, unalotaka kuwa kama Messi ama Cristiano Ronaldo, unalosema ukifika Ulaya watajenga mahospitali, watasimamisha gorofa, biashara kubwa na mahoteli. Sasa wengi wamejificha na nyumbani wamesahaulika, Ulaya dunia kawaida ni njaa tu ndo wamemama nyombe. Ulaya pia kuna masengenyo mama nyombe, Ulaya pia kuna maskendo. Ayaya mama nyombe, sisi kwa sisi tumekosa upendo. Mama nyombe, hata sisi weusi tunabaguana. Kwa nini? Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Maneno ya majirani we usisikie, puuzia, wakutukane wakusimange, maneno mengi ya vunji mfupa, dunia mzima ikuchukie. Kumbuko kubwa ni jalala, muombe Mungu hakupe nguvu uyashinde majaribu. Nami nakusisana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana. Dada bibie, Mama African Promotion. Yeah, it's your boy Fanatic. Yaktara mistari, stamba kurekebisha tabia. Mina kachini, kuwaza rohi nani huma mwaliasha. Huku niko kimya, spigi simu, unadhani na kuwacha. Tuko wengi hapa Ulaya, wengi namba wamebadilisha, swala humu batio sawa, ila ndiyo hali ya maisha. Nakusisana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sitachoka bado nakazana. Nami nakusisana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sitachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Ayaya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama. Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Unalotoka uko Afrika na ndoto za ajabu ajabu, unalotaka kuwa kama Messi ama Cristiano Ronaldo, unalosema ukifika Ulaya watajenga mahospitali, watasimamisha gorofa, biashara kubwa na mahoteli. Sasa wengi wamejificha na nyumbani wamesahaulika. Ulaya dunia kawaida, ni njaa tu ndo wamemama nyombe. Ulaya pia kuna masengenyo, mama nyombe. Ulaya pia kuna maskendo, haya ya mama nyombe. Sisi kwa sisi tumekosa upendo, mama nyombe. Hata sisi weusi tunabaguana, kwa nini? Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha.
Dada bibie, Mama African Promotion. Yeah, it's your boy Fanatic. Ya mtara mistari, stamba kurekebisha tabia.
Ninakaa chini kuwaza ni nani mwaliasha. Huku niko kimya, sipigi simu, unadhani na kuacha. Tuko wengi hapa Ulaya, wengi namba wamebadilisha. Swala humu sio sawa, ila ndiyo hali ya maisha. Ninakusihi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Ninakusihi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Haya ya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama. Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Kunalotoka huko Afrika na ndoto za ajabu, kunalotaka kuwa kama Messi ama Cristiano Ronaldo, kunalosemwa kifika Ulaya watajenga mahospitali, watasimamisha gorofa, biashara kubwa na mahoteli. Sasa wengi wamejificha na nyumbani wamesahaulika. Ulaya dunia kawaida, ni njaa tu ndo wamema mama nyombe, Ulaya pia kuna masengenyo. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia kuna maskendo. Ya mama nyombe, sisi kwa sisi tumekosa upendo. Mama nyombe, hata sisi weusi tunabaguana. Kwa nini? Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Maneno ya majirani we usisikie, puuzia, wakutukane wakusimange, maneno mengi ya vunji mfupa, hata dunia nzima ikuchukie. Kumbuko kubwa ni jalala, muombe Mungu hakupe nguvu uyashinde majaribu. Nami nakusihi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Nami nakusihi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Ya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama mama, bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. kapendaga, kwenye shida kwenye raha, kahoga ni daga, nikikosa huwaga na lala. Roho yenye utu niliorithi toka kwa mama, kudhuru kunyanyasa, siyajui mtoto wa Nyasa. Umenisaliti, umechanga mapenzi na siasa, mara shika pata pote, penzi cha roho yenye hila, kila siku kubishana kama Uhuru na Raila, na ofisi kukwangakia, nazo visa kukutafutia. Leo umenigeukia, umenyacha nyuma kamkia Maria. Sekese kumenipiga teke, majirani sawa nicheke, ongeza makeke uringe hudeke, yote hii nakupenda we Maria, Mariamu we, umenishinda, sina hamu we ya kukupenda, nenda zako, umeshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika. Siri bado nimezificha, katu sitozifichua, chanionekane mjinga, hii dunia inazunguka, bazote zimekwa zako, kujirusha na wenzako, meshakuonesha mata, neza kuenda mama, meshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika. Kesha kuwaza, mvinyo kunywa na kusaza, mawazo yamenijaza, stress mpenzi na kuwaza. Mari we Mari, rudi Afrika Mari, Mari we Mari, sikupendi Mari. Maria we, umenishinda, sina hamu we ya kukupenda, nenda zako, umeshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika.
Sale mambo the businessman, hata giza kitande vipi lazima kutapambazuka. Maana ya Mungu ni mengi na kuku ni mayai.
Utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka. Maria, Maria wewe, Maria wewe.
Welcome to ADDI, African Diaspora Development Institute, an entity that was designed to be the bridge between the children of Africa around the globe and the motherland, Africa. For centuries, the children of Africa have been divided. For centuries, we were intentionally put in a program to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. It is precisely because of this policy that was instituted during the Berlin Conference, also instituted during slavery, that economic liberation was denied to Black people around the globe in a very systematic way. ADDI is saying, no more shall we continue to be divided as Black people. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a decision that is monumental in the history of the continent. For the first time in the history of Africa, African countries are going to go to the world market as one customs union. That is huge. Let's seize the moment. Let's take the time to understand what the African Continental Free Trade Area means in your life, in my life, and the lives of our children and generations to come. But not only for Black people. What the African Continental Free Trade Area means to the world. Africa still has 80% of her natural resources completely untapped. In spite of the many years of colonization and exploitation, they have only tapped into maybe 10% of Africa's wealth. The African diaspora are not engaging the continent to the extent that we should, simply because we are misinformed. We are told our continent is a diseased and dying continent, which is far from the truth. The onus is on us as African diaspora to organize, pull together our natural resources, and go home to Africa and claim that which belongs to us. If we do not do it for ourselves, we have a responsibility to do it for our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. So at ADDI, we have put out several programs designed to facilitate our ability to unite and go back home as a formidable force of Mother Africa's children. ADDI is reaching out to African governments, as well as the African private sector. We're asking that the governments give us the first right of refusal of any projects they classify as international. Before they offer these opportunities to non-Africans, and by Africans I am referring to all Black people, we would want for them to give that first choice to children of Africa in the diaspora. ADDI is also partnering with private sectors in various countries to also create partnerships between diaspora companies and companies in those different countries. All collaborations that are so needed if we are to be on the driver's seat of Africa's continental development agenda. I urge all of you to go to ouraddi.org, join the movement.
Pendaga pendaga, kwenye shida kwenye raha, kahoga ni daga, nikikosa huwaga na lala. Roho yenye utu niliorithi toka kwa mama, kudhuru kunyanyasa, siyajui mtoto wa Nyasa. Umenisaliti, umechanga mapenzi na siasa, marashika pata pote, penzi cha roho yenye hila, kila siku kubishana kama Uhuru na Raila, na ofisi kukuangakia, nazo visa kukutafutia. Leo umenigeukia, umeniacha nyuma kamkia Maria. Nelepasekese kumenipiga teke, majirani sawa nicheke, ongeza makeke uringe hudeke, yote hii nakupenda we. Maria, Mariamu we, umenishinda, sina hamu we, ya kukupenda nenda zako, umeshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika. Siri bado nimezificha, katu sitozifichua, chanionekane mjinga, hii dunia inazunguka, bazote zimekwa zako, kujirusha na wenzako, meshakuonesha mata, neza kuenda mama, meshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika. Kesha kuwaza, mvinyo kunywa na kusaza, mawazo yamenijaza, stress mpenzi na kuwaza. Mari we Mari, rudi Afrika Mari, Mari we Mari, sikupendi Mari. Maria we, umenishinda, sina hamu we, ya kukupenda nenda zako, umeshanishinda. Rudi Afrika, zako zishapinda, rudi Afrika.
Sale mambo the businessman, hata giza kitande vipi lazima kitapambazuka. Maana ya Mungu ni mengi na kuku ni mayai.
Utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka, utakuja juta, Mari utanikumbuka. Maria, Maria wewe, oh, Maria wewe.
Babylon. Komolo, they are in a higher vibing. Rastafari living, give I the blessing. Black Komolo, they are in a higher vibing. No more warring, peace and loving. Black Komolo, they are in a higher vibing. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, dirty Babylon boy. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, dirty Babylon boy. We keep on burning, burning, burning. The pressure keep on burning, burning, burning. More fire keep on burning, burning, burning. The pressure keep on burning, more fire. I keep on burning, burning, burning. The pressure keep on burning, burning, burning. More fire keep on burning, burning, burning. The pressure keep on burning, more fire. Yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Will be better. Yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Just keep the faith, never too late. Keep the faith, no, it's never too late. Heads up high, Jaja is great. Time will tell, Jah work in mysterious way. Better men we work for every day. Never give up, it's forever live up. Even when time get red, no, we never give up. Positively, positively living it up. Burning the fire non-stop. Yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Will be better. Oh, yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Just keep the faith, never too late. Boy, this a long, long journey full of ups and downs. Pressure will be coming, pressure will be going. Yes, be strong, keep on going on. No matter what the tribulation, challenge after challenge, battle after battle. Life ain't easy. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Will be better. Oh, yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Just keep the faith, never too late. Things will be better, give thanks and praise. Things will be better, go and keep the faith. Things will be better, love yourself always. Things will be better, things will be better. Things will be better, give thanks and praise. Things will be better, go and keep the faith. Things will be better, love yourself always. Things will be better, yes, things will be better, yes. Yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Will be better, will be better. Will be better. Oh, yes, that day will come. Things will be better. Will be better, will just keep the faith, never too late.
And night fell on a different world, a world where freedom itself is under attack.
Experience has taught us that we are most vulnerable and fragile at the moment where we think we have won.
Because those who sit in power over the television, over the radio, and over the press is constantly telling those who are the masses how free they are.
This virus is so serious and people don't see it that way.
If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
I'm the son of a black man from Kenya and a white woman from Kansas. I have brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, uncles, and cousins of every race and every hue scattered across 3 continents. And for as long as I live, I will never forget that in no other country on earth is my story even possible.
Endelea kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumeleta jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki pamoja na kontinenti letu la Afrika pamoja, na sina shaka nikisema hapa siku ya leo ya kwamba dadangu Samia, jumuiya yetu ya Afrika Mashariki pamoja na kontinenti letu la Afrika pamoja, na sina shaka nikisema hapa siku ya leo ya kwamba dadangu Samia na sasa rais mwenzangu, barabara umeoneshwa, barabara imefunguliwa. Mwito poleni, wacha niendelee kwa kusema ya kwamba kwa dadangu Samia na sasa rais mwenzangu, barabara umeoneshwa na ndugu yetu Rais Magufuli.
on fire. Burning, 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 burning on fire. Yes, the fire keep on burning non-stop. We'll be rising to the top as we hail for right. Burn the evil man, yes, we burn Satan. Fire upon the system of crazy Babylon. Them not care for we children. No, them not care for the future. All them do is use and abuse, yeah. Dirty Babylon, whoop, whoop, fire. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, what a pressure, what a tribulation. Oh, dirty Babylon, boy.
If I may, I have prepared an overview statement based on my work these many past weeks. And I want to just say that as a parent and as a patriot, I'm absolutely outraged by what we're allowing to happen to our children. If I may, I have prepared an overview statement based on my work these many past weeks. And I want to just say that as a parent and as a patriot, I'm absolutely outraged by what we're allowing to happen to our children. Humanity is judged on how you treat the weakest member of the society. Let me say that although pedophilia, which says child love, has nothing to do with the abuse of children, these children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. We'll have the Falun Gong testimony tomorrow. One of the reasons that the Falun Gong are so popular is because they're so healthy, so that you can harvest their body organs and get the very best. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. I have been a spy. I'm out from undercover. I'm under a lifetime secrecy agreement. I absolutely tell you without doubt, I have no secrets that I can remember. If when I go to Iran soon, they can torture me, there's nothing there for them to get. But I know the system. I've been a spy all over the world. I have created the Marine Corps Intelligence Command. I have trained intelligence and law enforcement representatives, over 8,000 of them from across 66 countries. They are all, without exception, good people trapped in a bad system. And one of the most wonderful things that this court could achieve, now that we've had Pizzagate, for example, which opened people's mind, is we could achieve an opening of the public mind and an absolute imperative from the public to governments, including the U.S. government, which I think is the center of gravity in so many ways. I have found in my research in preparation for this court and all of the work that will follow that most organizations that end up being used to prey on children, Oxfam is a recent example, all of the United Nations organizations, the Boy Scouts of America, all of the child services agencies across the United States of America, they did not start out as organizations to prey on children, but they attract pedophiles. And ultimately, pedophiles end up rising in the ranks and controlling those organizations, so that an organization that initially started out in the service of children becomes an organization that is in fact hunting children. And one of our distinguished commissioners has written an absolutely wonderful book called Child Hunters, which I recommend to all of you as a brief on this. Governments are letting us all down. And I absolutely agree with the commissioner who brings forward the need to restore the sovereignty of we the people, because governments have become not only bureaucratized, but they are now the servants of the deep state, of the banks. And if I may, the deep state is not the same as the shadow government. As I say, every organization is 90% good people trapped in a bad system. It's the highest 10% that is generally the rogue killer element. The shadow government is generally politicians. I won't speak to England, but in the United States of America, we have a two-party tyranny, which disenfranchises 70% of the public. And so they run this chimera of an election process. One of the problems with computers is they're too easily manipulated. In the United States of America, elections are decided before the first vote is cast. The electronic voting machines are essentially fraudulent machines, just as computers can record a fraudulent judgment that sticks with you forever, or make a child vanish. I am concerned because most of these organizations dealing with children don't have counterintelligence protection. They're not vetting the people that are moving up in the ranks. And the government is allowing that to happen. So what you have essentially is the pedophiles generally appear to be the most wonderful, sociable people. You know, let Sally sit on Uncle John's lap because he's such a loving uncle. Unbeknownst to people, Uncle John is actually a predator. We're not doing the counterintelligence at the local level, the province level, or the national level. It's absolutely essential that we begin to talk about this openly. And while we are not a law enforcement commission, we can in fact turn information over to law enforcement. And I believe we will render a signal service to the people of Great Britain and to other countries by being a magnet for information. It's been my experience that when you put out one piece of free information, it attracts 100 pieces of information from others, of which 10 are priceless. So there's a 10-to-1 return on investment. And this commission seeks to create an online library and some other things that I'll talk about in a moment. And I believe we will serve as a magnet, a hub, a catalyst for a new emerging global consciousness about pedophilia and all of its aspects. There is great cause for alarm. There are two great causes for alarm beyond the actual fact of pedophilia and its existence, which, as His Grace has pointed out, has gone on for centuries. First, the elite appear to be seeking to infect local and provincial law enforcement officers with a taste for pedophilia. There appears to be a very deliberate attempt to push this interest in pedophile movies, including movies that include bestiality. I'm very concerned because we're seeing some snuff movies now, and we're seeing some movies in which military war dogs are raping children, including toddlers. And these movies may have come out of the American occupation of Afghanistan and the boredom of U.S. Army and Marine Corps troops, where in Afghanistan, pedophilia is common. It's a standard practice at the village level. But military war dogs plus common pedophilia and video cameras, which every U.S. soldier and Marine has, is a very, very toxic combination. And I'm seeing direct evidence that that is one of the most horrible things that's come out of Afghanistan in recent years. Now, let me also tell you that we have a second concern, and the witness has really most magnificently outlined asset stripping. The core message from this asset stripping is that the same machine that strips children from families strips wealth from those who are being preyed upon. Not just whistleblowers, but, as we'll hear on Wednesday, husbands stupid enough to try and hide their money by moving it offshore so that they don't have to share with their wife. What husbands do when they turn over their money to intermediaries who are part of this system is mark themselves as a target. They might as well paint a target on their forehead, because they have now become prey for a system that recognizes people who are asking to be made destitute. Now, it's not my working assumption, but the working assumption yet to be proven that the totality of the children disappearing worldwide is toward 8 million people, toward 8 million children. In the United States of America, the acknowledged number, not counting the children being bred without birth certificates, not counting the children being imported without documentation, is between 600 and 800,000 a year. Now imagine Africa and East Asia and all these other locations. I personally believe that the number we want to try to document is rising well beyond the official figures, and we have yet to learn what the actual number is, okay? The other working assumption is, how long do these children survive within this system? What I am hearing from the witnesses that I've talked to is 2 years. It may be longer. It may be 4 years. It may be 6 years. But by and large, these children are so abused. I mean, we're talking rapes by the hour and so forth, that they reach their expiration date within 2 years. And then they're murdered with impunity, or they're ritually murdered if that's what they've been bred for. So I think we need to document this. No one else has done this before in a systematic manner. This commission is rendering a signal service by seeking to do an overall view in the public interest. This will be a massive, massive undertaking. And while the preliminary attempt is to do a 6-month to 9-month endeavor, subject to funding availability and the availability of witnesses and also prisoners, there are a number of prisoners who can be debriefed, who, when properly debriefed by specialists, can really give a deeper understanding that has not been achieved by existing law enforcement and other agencies, because they simply treat these people when they catch them, in those rare instances when they catch them, as disposable goods to be thrown into prison and forgotten about. And tomorrow we will have some expert testimony from one of our commissioners who can speak to this far, far better than I. William Binney is my counterpart. He is for NSA what I am to CIA, which is to say, he is saying, as I am saying, that we can delete 70% of our respective organizations and put the other 30% to work. But Binney is also the author of Thin Thread, which is a way of doing deep discovery in unstructured databases and the internet. And so he is prepared to actually help us do pedophilia tracking worldwide. And one of the things that the other technical commission, Stephen Arnold, is very good at is de-anonymizing the internet. This includes every image having a fingerprint. So you can take an image of a child being abused, and you can track that image through the dark web. So there are resources that we can bring to bear in support of this commission's mission. My favorite technical commission is Arno Reuser from the Netherlands, who is a master librarian. He is so good that when the Dutch intelligence community realized it didn't know enough about the world, they recruited him to create the Open Source Intelligence Center for Dutch intelligence. And as with the endeavors that I helped create in the United States, and in fact for Scotland Yard, very quickly people found out that they could get 40 to 60% of what they knew very cheaply using open sources of information. That's not what government intelligence agencies do today. They want to spend as much money as possible in the riskiest way possible on the most expensive way possible. They're not actually there to do decision support or answer questions. So I believe that Arno Reuser is capable of creating the world's first digital library on pedophilia. And this would be a multilingual library to include local dialects. And it would be a library that would then end up being what we call a magnet for walk-ins. We want to have a very professional ingestion system so that people can volunteer to provide expert witness to the thing, or they can volunteer to offer up their papers. There are a number of pedophiles now who are actually ready to turn over their diaries. All right, so I think we're actually doing something really, really huge. My final comment. The center of gravity for taking down the deep state. Pedophilia is both the induction glue. Pedophilia is how the deep state recruits and controls people. It is also the Achilles heel of the deep state. I believe that once the public realizes that the government is not protecting their children at a scale of vulnerability that we can articulate, then everything else about the government is called into question. All right? So for me, this is a truly righteous endeavor. And I will end by saying that as much good as it might do to get the British angry, for me, the center of gravity for change is the American public. Because if you can get the American public angry, we will stop supporting dictators overseas. We will close all of our military bases overseas. I am on record as a former CIA operations officer as saying that our 1,000 bases overseas are not there for national defense. They're there to serve as lily pads for the smuggling of guns, gold, cash, drugs, and small children. So let me say I am proud to be in your company, and I believe that no matter what we do or do not do, it is going to make a difference. God bless you all.
Burning,
tofauti. Leo umenigeuki, umeniacha nyuma kamkia Maria. Umeleta sekeseko, umenipiga teke.
Dada bibie, Mama Africa Promotion. Yeah, it's your boy Fanatic. Yaktara mistari, stamba kurekebisha tabia.
Minakaa chini kuwaza rohi nani umamwaliasha huku niko kimya spigi simu unadhani na kuacha. Tuko wengi hapa Ulaya, wengi namba wamebadilisha swala humu batio sawa, ila ndiyo hali ya maisha. Ninakusi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Ninakusi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Ayaya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama. Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Unalotoka uko Afrika na ndoto za ajabu, kunalotaka kuwa Messi ama Cristiano Ronaldo, kunalosemwa kifika Ulaya watajenga mahospitali, watasimamisha gorofa, biashara kubwa na mahoteli. Sasa wengi wamejificha na nyumbani wamesahaulika. Ulaya dunia kawaida ni njaa tu ndo wamemama nyombe. Ulaya pia kuna masengenyo mama nyombe, Ulaya pia kuna maskendo. Ayaya mama nyombe, sisi kwa sisi tumekosa upendo. Mama nyombe, hata sisi weusi tunabaguana. Kwa nini? Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha. Kwa maneno ya majirani we usisikie puuzia, wakutukane wakusimange, maneno mengi ya vunji mfupa, dunia nzima ikuchukie. Kumbuko kubwa ni jalala, muombe Mungu hakupe nguvu huyashinde majaribu. Nami nakusi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Nami nakusi sana, vumilia tu mama, maisha bado napambana, sijachoka bado nakazana. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakula sombe. Mama nyombe, Ulaya pia tunakosa pesa. Ayaya mama nyombe, Ulaya fitina chuki vimetuzunguka. Mama nyombe, nakupenda mama. Bado napambana na maisha mwaliasha, bado sijachoka natafuta mwaliasha. Nami nakujali usijali mwaliasha, nami nakupenda sitakutenda mwaliasha.
Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and down in a Zion. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. A time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. A time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and down in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and down in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and down in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for.
Yo, Tada Mike, I'm on the way coming, man. I'm coming, bro. Take care.
Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yo, hey, lift your head, a little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you a go follow? Yo, fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice melody, lyrically on your way. We can't fade the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We can't fade the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. yesterday. Me can't let that not break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me can't let that hot break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me walk God walk, me tell you not a geezer. Youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. In a drop them setting, youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. Still singing, me can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, and humble like a baby. Me check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Hey, lift your head high, little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you are go for? Fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Groovy, still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Put them on the street, we lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street, we lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street, we lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street, we lift them up just like yesterday. Dang 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 dang, bang bang slang. Chop. I got them sling long, blending dang bang sling bang bang, tada my target. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. As Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. As Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. The time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. The time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. A Zionist voice, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. A Zionist voice, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. A Zionist voice, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. A Zionist voice, straight from my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yo, hey, lift your head, a little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you are go follow? Yo, fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice melody, lyrically on your way. We can't feed the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We can't feed the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. We can't let that not break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. We can't let that hot break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me walk God walk, me tell you not a gizzard. Youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. In a trap they setting. Youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yo, hey, lift your head, a little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you are go follow? Yo, fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Listen for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Listen for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Dang 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 dang, bang bang slang. Chop. I call them sling long blend, dang bang sling bang bang. Tada my tag. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. A time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Oh Jah, don't let me down in a Babylon. A time pass away, they going under. They can't run away, it's getting harder. No time for me to waste, no time for me to waste. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Fly me back down to Zion, oh Jah. Where there is some happiness, oh Jah. Rise me up, don't let me fall, oh Jah. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. And life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race. No ups and downs in a Zion. Zion is wise, straight for my heart. Fly me back, life is like a wave down in a river. It's all uplift each other, oh no struggle for a race.
Yes. That is it. So we are running up and pushing the show now down. So we want to close it down, but there's so much fun, so much request, and everybody is still asking for some more. So let us just give one more of the numbers, because we are limited to one artist today. We are limited to one artist today, and to
Yo, Tada Mike, I'm on the way coming, man. I'm coming, bro. Take care.
Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Missing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yo, hey, lift your head, a little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you a go follow? Yo, fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a darker. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, me can't fade away. Nice melody, lyrically on your way. Me chant for the youth, them on the street. Believe them up just like yesterday. Still singing, me can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me chant for the youth, them on the street. Believe them up just like yesterday. Me can't let that not break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me can't let that hot break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me walk God walk, me tell you not a geezer. Youth man pass over, pass.
Yo, Tada Mike, I'm on the way coming, man. I'm coming, bro. Take care.
Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. So me go, another one again. Tell it to them free when them come out of trouble. I'm on a corner, number like a baby. We check man stumble down and I fall. Yo, hey, lift your head high like a juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lives. Which one you are go follow, yo? Fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice melody, lyrically on your way. Me chant for the youth, them on the street. Believe them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me chant for the youth, them on the street. Believe them up just like yesterday. Me can't let that not break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me can't let that hot break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me walk God walk, me tell you not a geezer. Youth man pass over, pass over, pass over. In a trap they setting. Youth man pass over, pass over, pass over. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, number like a baby. Me check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yeah, hey, lift your head high, little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo.
Yes. Mother.
Fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. You don't wanna see a black bat so far. You don't wanna see me fuss and fight.
Yes. I hope you guys had a very good evening today, and it's been a very long journey, very exhausting. And I really want to thank everybody who participated. And as we realize, it's so very funny that when we look on the counting on the screen, Facebook tells us you're 3-4 people. Then when we look in the checking, we see very different numbers. I must say that I'm very happy and I'm very thankful for those who participated, especially all on our platforms in diaspora and those who are really going in for the ADDI. What I would like to tell you is, please, what tips you have given you, the information you have gotten, please go do your own research. Check things out for yourself, okay? Just go check things out for yourself. You can try with the the usual Google, and we know it's not the best, but if you want, you can inbox some stuff. The information we tell you about the pedophilia, about the bunkers, about the drilling the swamps, how Africa is connected, and how all the African leaders' dilemma and all that. And we come back to the ADDI, how we really can unite as people of color and save Africa, because it is the holy land. Now, after we knowing all that, we can only wish you a very good midweek night today, and we had proposed to go today up to not later than midnight, but we can see, yes, it is 11 o'clock the last time, so at least we have stopped at least half an hour before our time because we started earlier. Yes, a few announcements is that we are going to disappear a lot from social platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And because you all know that those are all the cabal networks. If you want to find Radio Africa EU information, you can find us on Social Africa, and you have to register to Social Africa, and you can search out for Radio Africa EU. Otherwise, you can also come to Telegram, and when you are on Telegram, you can look up for Blackmanwake as one person. And if you get to Blackmanwake, and I also suggest you can get linked also to 3D to 5D consciousness, and there we share a lot of information. And you can also find us on the UGTube, UGE Tube, and there you can also find us on only hashtags of Blackmanwake and hashtags of Radio Africa EU, but not a page. Yes, and if you also cannot find us there, you can also find us on BitChute. And BitChute, we also excel there as Blackmanwake. The whole concept of Blackmanwake is to just make people of color be aware of the war we are in now. And the war we are in now, it is a spiritual war against the evil and Antichrist. I mean, Christ and Antichrist evil. And the only mix that makes it much more crucial that people of color have to really seriously participate, because the Goldman, or rather the fight, is all about a space called Africa. So this whole spiritual war is about Africa being the original old holy land, with all the stories relating to Israel, that it is what it is all about. So please follow us on the tips and the links we've given you below, and thank you very much for joining us. And today the episode was on the investigation on, yes, the International Commission on the Investigation of Child Abuse, Human Trafficking, and we've given you some very good tips. Please keep your fellow people awake. Let people take care of these children. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We close down with the last and one we will play 3 times from Tanzanians. Yes, good night and see you on Friday.
Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrical melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrical melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Yo, hey, lift your head, I little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between 2 lines. Which one you are go follow? Yo, fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a darker. You don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice melody, lyrically on your way. We chant for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We chant for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. We can't let that not break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. We can't let that hot break me down. Long time they try, they can't break me down. I'm on a hotter like a sun in a desert. Me walk God walk, me tell you not a geezer. Youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. In a drop them setting, youth man, pass over, pass over, pass over. Still singing, me can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. Me sing for the youth, them on the street. Me lift them up just like yesterday. So me boast another one again. Belly full them sing when them come out of trouble. I'm on a cool, humble like a baby. We check wicked man stumble down and a fall. Hey, lift your head, I little juvenile. Obey your father, mother, just be wise, yo. In a true life, you got to choose between two lines. Which one you are go for? Fire burn, it a go burn them proper. Burn vampires dwelling in a dark. They don't wanna see a black bat prosper. All they wanna see we fuss and fight. Groovy, still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up just like yesterday. Still singing, we can't fade away. Nice lyrically melodies on your way. We sing for the youth, them on the street. We lift them up.